Okay, Wharf District Council meeting, March 16th, 2021. Seems like we have a quorum and we have some good things to talk about. So looking forward to a robust conversation, and we're going to start out. Sergeant Moy and or Captain Chicolo are going to give us an update on some things that Sergeant Moy's also put some things in the chat, right?
Yep. So you want me to take it away, Mark? Am I all set?
Go right ahead, please. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mark. Good evening, everyone. Hopefully everyone's doing well. The days are longer. The sun's out, and hopefully the warm weather will be right around the corner. So, and hopefully, things, April 1st, outdoor dining, you guys, folks can take advantage of that, which is great. And I'm actually meeting with some of the folks in the North End regarding outdoor dining this Friday. So hopefully, I'm dying to get out myself and not cook. So with that, Captain Chicolo could not make it without divulging too much of his personal life. His wife had a minor accident, so he's attending to her. So he could not make it tonight. So with that, I will delve into the reports. One of the reasons why I like doing the Wharf meeting is not much going on in the Wharf, fairly quiet. The three reports I have were sort of to be expected, with everyone cooped up and a lot of anxiety going around. We have seen a small increase in domestic violence issues and fights amongst roommates and stuff like that. So I'll jump into the first one. On March 6th at about 10:40 in the morning, officers responded to 75 State Street for a call for a fight in progress. Officers arrived on scene, found the victim and the suspect. The victim had blood on her face. They immediately stopped the suspect, who was the boyfriend of the victim. She stated that they got into a verbal argument. She did admit to slapping him first, but then he punched her in the face multiple times, causing her nose to bleed. We did a quick inquiry. There was no outstanding restraining orders, but nonetheless, he was placed under arrest for domestic violence. She was given her rights under domestic violence laws and transported to Mass General Hospital for treatment. So he was taken into custody. And moving on to the next one, on February 26th at about 1 o'clock in the morning at 13 Congress Street, officers respond to that location for a victim who said he was jumped by 4 unknown people and hit in the side of the ribs with a hammer. Officers arrived on scene, found the victim. He stated that he and some other folks were hanging out at 13 Congress Street, which I guess is an abandoned building or something that they were able to get in and kind of squat there. He was attending to a friend and he was jumped from behind, and where he was attacked, and someone hit him with a hammer. Officers, investigated the area. They canvassed the area. They did find a hammer laying in the middle of the street. They did find some other people around that area. The victim did identify one, and that person was not taken into custody, but he was summoned into court for this fight. And then moving on to the next issue, on February 15th at about 5 o'clock in the morning. As I read the reports, I'm so glad I don't work midnights anymore, but 5 o'clock in the morning, Marriott Hotel, room 1604, officers responded to that location for domestic in progress. Officers arrived on scene, spoke to hotel security, responded to 1604. Security made entry for the police officers into the room. When they entered the room, they found both the victim and the suspect rolling around on the floor. Officers observed a broken glass cup on the floor, along with multiple open bottles of alcohol. So no shocker there. So other officers responded on scene. Another set of officers recognized this couple from a previous incident that happened earlier in the night at the Intercontinental, where they had an argument as well. So during this investigation, the suspect, who I guess felt the police were taking too long with their investigation, decided to pick a fight with one of the officers. He lunged at one of the officers. Officers had to subdue him. and he was placed under arrest for assault and battery on a police officer, along with domestic violence, as well as the victim did state that he suffocated her as well. So he was placed into custody as well and taken back to the station for booking. So those are the three notable reports this past month. Like I said, not really surprised by the domestic increase because of, everyone can't really get out. A lot of anxiety amongst a lot of folks. So, but at least, we made arrests out of the two domestic issues. We made arrests in both of them. And moving on to the next, is there any question on the reports before I move on to the next thing I want to talk about? Anyone? No? So if you note in the chat that I uploaded two really important email addresses through the police department. One is, so the department has gone ahead and they've beefed up our Boston Police Street Outreach Team, which goes around, citywide, and they address, or they attempt to address, a lot of the homeless, mental health issues that we see, day in and day out, as we walk through the city. So they beefed up that team, which is great. So I figured it'd be nice for you folks to have the email address. If you see someone that you think, the weather is getting nicer. So, over the wintertime, we can use the cold temperatures as an excuse to engage and kind of force people off the streets because of the temperatures. But with the warm weather around the corner, it's a little more difficult to, commit people based on cold weather. So if you folks see someone that you think might be in need, you can still definitely reach out to myself, or I believe Officer Champ is on the call as well. You can reach out to him, myself, the captain, or you can reach out to Street Outreach, which is the email that I listed. They have, like I said, more
Sergeant
people.
Moy,
Yes.
there's nothing in the chat.
Yeah, it is.
Nobody can see it, including me.
If you
Oh, I
hit-
thought I said.
Might have gone
said-
just to Mark.
No, you may have. It's just that if you join, you can only see the chats that have happened since you joined. So you may have just put it before many people entered the chat.
Yeah, I logged on early just to get it up there. I'm sorry. You know what I'll do?
Send it again, yeah. Chat it
Yeah,
again.
let me see if I can copy it again and send it again. If not, I'll send it at the end of my talk. And then,
I can do it. Let's go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, Rachel, thank you for the input. So if you want to reach out to Street Outreach directly, that's probably the most direct route, take out the middleman, or you can still 311 it, whatever you think is appropriate. If you think there's an emergency, like I say, always 911 is your best bet. But, if you see someone who is, could use some social services or mental health services, then Street Outreach is the way to go. And the email, Mark will repost it again. And the other email that I threw
Let's
up
make
there
sure we
was,
get that on our website too, so the residents of
Sure.
Doug,
the other email that I listed was the Civil Rights Unit within the police department. So I have a meeting at the end of the month with City Hall. I guess there's been some talk about that with the coronavirus. There's been either an underreporting or a non-reporting of some potential hate crimes that may have occurred, specifically in Chinatown. But I want to throw this out at every meeting that I attend, that if anyone feels that they've been discriminated against, based on race, sexual orientation, stuff like that, you can reach out to myself, Officer Ciampa, Captain Giacolo, or if you want to go direct, the civil rights units, their email address is up there. And a couple of city councilors have brought it to my attention. They feel that throughout the city there's some non-reporting, whether there's some cultural issues that they just don't trust the police. So I want to put that email out there. If I can be of assistance, please reach out. We take, whenever the department sets up a specialized unit for a specific crime, the department takes it seriously. So there's actually a group of men and women that investigate civil rights violation throughout the city. And if there is something going on, please don't hesitate to reach out. So otherwise than that, that's, how did I do, Mark? What was that?
that was great. It's great.
And then
I reposted those links there so that everybody should be able to get to them. Questions for Sergeant Moy or about any of these things? April 1st is the date that people, generally speaking, can start dining outside? Is that the idea?
Yep, so from what I understand, April 1st will be outdoor dining. March 22nd, I mean, if you're a Bruins or a Celtics fan, there'll be limited, I think it's 12% or something like that at the TD Garden. So next week, the TD Garden will open up for fans. And April 1st will be outdoor dining. And, you know, like someone had already said earlier, you know, if you've been vaccinated and you feel a little more comfortable, you know, going out and getting some fresh air, seeing family, seeing, you know, whoever, grandkids, you know, loved ones, then, you know, I strongly suggest that. Only just you know, it's, you know, my in-laws have finally come over to the house to see my 3 kids, and you know, just for the whole mental health aspect of it, I strongly encourage it. So I see Tom has his hand raised.
Yeah. Yes.
Hi, thank you for the report. I'm just curious, who are the people that respond to the mental health issues? Are they professionals? Are they policemen? Are they both? Could you describe them?
Sure. So they will be police officers. So there's a list of people that would respond. So we know just from experience that when we approach homeless folks, there's usually you know, potentially some alcohol addiction, if not some drug addiction along with it, and also some you know, they're not too keen on the police. So we know that when we approach someone with the intent of genuinely helping them, the uniform itself doesn't help us any, you know, kind of sets the homeless off, that they see someone of authority come in and they think that we're going to commit them somewhere or take away their belongings or place them under arrest. And so these folks from the street outreach are police officers. They're not in uniform. They're in a, you know, khaki pants and a polo shirt, just to take away that, just to not set the homeless off when they see the uniform. So they want to come in with a softer approach. So they are police officers, and they will occasionally be with a civilian clinician. So for example, they might be riding around with some of the Pine Street outreach workers, or they might be riding around with some of the best team, which is, I think, hired and paid for by Boston Medical Center. So it's a little bit of both. So you won't see the traditional uniform. They may or may not be police officers. So it'll be a combination of both. So does that answer your question?
Great.
Yeah, it
Thanks.
does. I mean, they accompany a police officer, or they're on their own, one person.
If you email street outreach, you will get a police officer in plain clothes.
Okay.
And occasionally they might have a civilian with them from Pine Street or City Hall outreach or from Boston Medical Center.
Thank you.
Great. Stephen, when does Sea Grill open outdoors?
Sea Grill opens outdoors dinner on Thursday, the 15th of April. We're going to start then. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mark, I like where your mind's at. I like.
So do I.
I'll eat outside with a parka on. That's fine.
Right.
Any other questions of our friends from BPD? Yes, Matthew.
I just would piggyback on what Stephen said, and the Landing, our bar and restaurant, the Landing, will be opening up that this very same night, April 15. So nice signs of things coming to life. Yes, great minds think alike. Yes.
Well, and I think we will be planning this year a window July 4th celebration, right? I don't know what that means, but.
So, hey, Mark, can I just take this opportunity to talk to Stephen and Matthew about, I know we met with some of the restaurants and bars down at the, around the TD Garden. And, you know, we just wanted to, you know, kind of put out our expectations regarding, you know, everyone's going to be eager like you, Mark. They want to go back out. They want to eat. They want to have a cocktail in the nice weather. So, you know, if you can, I'm not sure how it works at your establishments, but, you know, folks are going to want to get back out there, and some of them are going to hit it hard. And we, you know, we're a little worried about, you know, no one's taking public transportation. Hopefully they're walking, but if they're driving, you know, we're worried about increases of OUI. We're worried about over serving and people, you know, having medical issues. So, you know, just keep those in mind. I know our licensing unit which our police officers are going to be out there. And I don't want to see anyone get, brought before Kathleen Joyce, before the, licensing board. So, we don't want to see queuing of lines. If you have to, obviously, just go by what the guidelines are. We don't want to discourage people from making money. We know it's very tough. My brother-in-law owns a restaurant on the Cape, and, I understand how tough it is. So, but we want to keep people safe as well.
No,
So,
of course, we appreciate that. I'm at the Boston Harbor Hotel, and I'm acutely aware of the rules, and we wouldn't stand for queuing or breaking the rules. We're absolutely, our license is important to us. We can't trade without it. So.
No, perfect. I just want to take that opportunity to just throw my 2 cents in. Thank you so much to both of you.
Of course. Thanks.
And best of luck. Best of luck. You might see me there, but
Okay.
But not in the queue. That's
yeah,
right.
not in the queue.
There won't be a queue.
Thank you, Sergeant. I'll just, on behalf of BHC, we're having our manager meeting tomorrow, and I'll be sure to pass along your remarks and reminders to our food and beverage department.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Matthew. So if there's no other questions, I'll let you guys get on to your other business. Is that okay?
Right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it as always.
All right, folks, enjoy, and I'll see you next month.
You betcha. Next on our agenda is the liquor license transfer, and Mike Brangwine is going to speak on behalf of the 222 Friends. Is that right? Michael?
Yes, that's correct. This is Mike Brangwine here. Can you all hear me okay?
Yep.
I am here on behalf of 22 Friends, Inc. And with me, I'll slide this over. He's going to talk in a moment, but it's Anthony DePinto. How's everybody doing? We're
Good, thanks.
around the corner here in my office, but I wanted to be together with him so he could speak as well as to the, he's going to talk about the actual concept. A little bit of the legal background from my end is 22 Friends, Inc. Is currently operating, they're changing locations from their location at 22 Friends Street to the proposed new location is 4 Liberty Square. And Anthony and his team, they've been at that location since about 2017, but combined have over 44 years of experience in the restaurant industry. Anthony's been the manager on a liquor license, or this has been the manager on this liquor license since I think 2017. And they've applied to the Boston Licensing Board to transfer that license that's currently being operated at 222 to the new location. And as part of that, we're involved in the neighborhood outreach. Some of you may have seen that there's also going to be an abutters meeting through John Romano in the mayor's office. But we did, as part of community outreach, want to come and speak with the council. And the plan is to operate a restaurant, which Anthony's going to talk a little bit more about the specifics of that. But the new location is going to be full restaurant service. The idea is to have brunch and some live entertainment. And also, as I think we all recognize, the COVID has hit a lot of industries pretty hard, but very hard for the restaurant industry locally. And but that being said, I think these guys are very excited to have this open up this new concept, which Anthony's going to talk about, and hopefully be ready to open up in the spring is the tentative timeline, and maybe take advantage of some people that are excited, maybe pent up and ready to get out and have some good food and good drinks. So I'll let Anthony tell you a little bit more about what their plan is for the actual restaurant.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Thanks. Good. Great.
Awesome. So basically what we're bringing is an authentic Southern cuisine restaurant to the financial district. So something that doesn't currently exist in this neighborhood. Fried chicken wings, baked chicken wings, all homemade by us, mac and cheese, cornbread, steak tips bought locally from a butcher in the North End. Our burger comes from a butcher in the North End. And so what we want to do is capitalize on people going back to work in the financial district, as well as draw new business to the financial district, where you may live in the North End or live in South Boston or live in the Seaport and want to go someplace different. So we really wanted to bring a different concept to what currently exists in the financial district. So we will be open for lunch. We will be open for dinner. We will be open late on the weekends, and we will be doing brunch on Sundays. And that's kind of where we're at right now. So we have a great back of house staff. We'll be bringing a lot of our front of a house along, and we'll be hiring new because we'll have more shifts. We'll be open more hours. So, but I'm open to any questions you may have, please.
Is this a location of a previous restaurant?
Yes, so this used to be the Vault.
Yeah,
And
okay.
it was the Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's an existing restaurant, bar, lounge, et cetera. And we're just bringing our concept into it.
Now, you mentioned entertainment.
Yes.
Can you elaborate a little bit on that, please?
Certainly. So normal hours, meaning our lunch Monday to Friday, our after work Monday to Friday, will only be piping in Pandora or Spotify, softer dinner music, things that, are typical of a local restaurant. And then later at night on the weekends, or even if we can have a guest appearance, maybe an acoustic guitar player. Very, very popular in one of my locations was a 3-piece jazz band live during dinner. And then DJs seem to be more popular on the weekends, and especially for brunch. So that type of mix of entertainment.
How many seats?
So the total occupancy is 270, which was the licenses that were approved for the Vanderbilt, and we're not changing anything. And that is split over 2 floors. So it's 200 and
270.
oh,
Two
actual
floors.
seating, yes, but total capacity 270. So the seating will be 80 and the standing will be 190. And that's split over 2 floors. So there is a downstairs area which we're going to more utilize for corporate events, for private events, birthdays, et cetera. Holds roughly 40, 50 people. I think it was 50 on the old licenses. And then upstairs is the main floor, and that's where most of everything will be.
And open until what time on in the evenings?
So our original business plan would be to have our liquor license till 2, just in case there is Monday Night Football that might take off, just in case there is an event that might run late. So we would like to have that capability. But as far as our hours of operation, we're looking at closing at 11 on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, stay open until 2 because there is business down there late. And Sunday would actually be a pure brunch. So, we would like to have the capability to open late, but we're looking at 9 to 4, 10 to 5, something in that range. That's what we're discussing currently.
And those are longer hours than the Vault had, I
The
think.
Vault was 2 a.m. every night. Whether
Was
they
it really?
utilized it or not, I don't know. But they were 2 a.m. 7 nights a week.
Huh.
We would just
The
have the capability to do so in case there is a private event, in case there is. Our actual business plan is to open up normal restaurant hours during the week and then extend our hours on the weekend, pretty much.
The Vault did not have entertainment. I mean, they may have had a license, but they were primarily a dinner and events. They did small events, a lot of political events, a lot.
Yes. As do we. We've run Brotherhood of the Fallen events, in our old location. We did fundraisers for local politicians in the area. So we also do utilize that as well, or give back, I should say, on our end, when we donate the food, the spaces for free, et cetera, et cetera. Just gonna add.
Do you use programmers?
And I'll just add from a legal perspective, in terms of the licensing for the entertainment, you all may be familiar, and Suzanne, you may be familiar with this as well, but the way the city licenses entertainment, it's actually separate from the liquor license.
Yes.
And if you plan on having, somebody playing a recorder, any type of live entertainment, that requires live entertainment license. So it's all kind of grouped under the same. If we wanted to have any type of live entertainment, we would need to apply for that type of live entertainment. So
You will also need to come back to us
For that.
for that.
Sure. This application, I know we've only submitted an application to the licensing board. The entertainment, it's odd. You all, I'm sure, are very familiar with the process, but they require the liquor license first.
Right.
Even
Yeah.
apply for the entertainment license. So, and just for my purposes, you all would want to have a meeting on entertainment as well. That would be a separate issue, would be coming after the.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
good to know. I'll if you had, it sounded like you had more questions for Anthony. I'm happy to give
Please,
him
I'm
back
happy to
to
answer.
the mic if you'd like.
Well, the main thing, we welcome, I think it's fair to say, some new cuisine into the area, and it's great to have that restaurant back being operational, because frankly, I missed it. But you should just know that we are always concerned about the level of violence that happens outside restaurants after they close at 2 a.m. and people have been overserved. It is a regular issue that we have, and one that is difficult but not impossible for you to help to control. So that is going to be something that we're going to pay very, very close attention to. And it will be, to the extent that we can, one of the major conditions that we will pay attention to.
So, and if I may even piggyback that, I have actually been a front of the house in the industry for 27 years now. So I understand the severity of over-serving, of things can get out of control, and I take that very serious myself, as does my business partner. So we would work in conjunction with you, listen to any recommendations you may have to keep the neighborhood the neighborhood. I mean, we know where we are.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Great. We will, does anybody else have any questions? If we don't, well, thank you for your presentation, and we will take this up at our executive session at the end of the evening to write a letter responding to your presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it, sincerely.
Okay.
Looking forward to doing business together.
Thank
Look
you.
forward to the good food. Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Jesse.
Hello, Mark.
You going to do a swan song for us?
Little bit.
Welcome.
Thought I'd offer a few updates, and then some goodbyes and thank yous. First off, just want to acknowledge Jessica from Councilor Essaibi George's office and Alicia from Councilor Flaherty's office, and thank you to Sergeant Moy as well. So much of our work is not possible without the partnership with our electeds and with the police. And then turning to just a few quick updates. Our gala, which we didn't hold last year, we are holding this year, but sadly not tent in the park. That will hopefully be possible again in 2022. Maybe it even would be possible by fall, but kind of can't bank on it. So April 15th is our gala. And there, Rachel from our team and David's from our team as well. Rachel's got that in the chat. We promise to try and make it a fun Greenway evening, even though you will have to have the alcohol in your own home and be sitting in front of a computer. For all donors above a certain level, we're sending you a treasure box that includes a jar of Greenway honey and other things to try and make it not just another Zoom evening. So I hope many of you will join us. Second thing, we are hiring. That's a good sign. We got a second round of PPP money, and We have several intern positions and several seasonal and full-time positions. 7 things that I think are posted on our website. And so if you know people who are looking for a job or an internship for the summer, please send them to our website, rosekennedygreenway.org/jobs, or the link there in the if you are downtown, and not everybody is, you may notice that we have put up a fence around the Rings Fountain again. We are kind of redoing part of the project last year. You will, sorry, from 2 years ago. You will recall that we upgraded the lights at the Rings Fountain to be these beautiful colored lights. We used a brand new light from Wet Design. That brand new light has problems, and so Wet Design is replacing all of the lights at their cost. But it does mean that we had to rent the crane, and we had to rent the fence, and that should be done in time to turn the fountain on for Memorial Day. And then hopefully we won't be putting a fence around the Rings Fountain next spring or the spring after. And then the last update is really just sort of a quick preview. Keelan and Lucas will be here at your next meeting, I think, to talk about the 2021 season. But we expect it to be at least as good as 2020, meaning, you know, maybe it isn't 400 free events, but we had 200 last year and 100 free fitness classes, and we figured out how to open the carousel and the beer garden and so on. So we expect another good season and hope it is a great season. And they'll be here to tell you more about what's coming for art this year and some more of the details about the programs. And then before I pivot to sing some goodbyes, just any questions about things going on the Greenway otherwise?
Jesse, what about Trillium?
Yes, so Trillium is working through permitting issues, always working through permitting issues. And they, I believe they were at one point talking about opening in April, which would be earlier. I think that date may slide to May 1st. And so Keelan will be in touch, and I know has been talking extensively with you, Suzanne, about you know, what will be a similar but not identical situation to past years. Okay, so as many of you know, presumably most of you know, I'm leaving the Conservancy. My last day is late April, probably April 26th. And I'm headed to New York, which is where I grew up. So it's a bit of a homecoming for me, but to be the new CEO for the Statue of Liberty Ellis Island Foundation. And I've been doing rounds a little bit at community meetings, and we are being recorded, but that's okay. I have always loved coming to the Wharf Council. I won't compare it to coming to any other community meeting.
Oh, say it's your favorite.
But it has been such a nice partnership, and if you will indulge me, I wanted to sort of accompany a few words with, if I can, sharing my screen for a little bit of a slideshow. So this has not just been, is that actually working?
Yep.
Yep.
As a slideshow? Good. This has been not just a great job, but also where my kids have grown up. We may live in the suburbs, but I grew up as a city kid, and I've tried to bring them in as much as possible. And that has meant a lot of time in the Wharf District. And thank you to all of you for being such a welcoming community to my family and such a welcome community to everything that the Conservancy has done in the park. When I arrived, I moved to Boston. I had one kid who was 1 year old, and then a year later had twins. And so in the 11 years I've been here, basically my kids have grown up with the Greenway and have grown up at the Rings Fountain and the carousel and on the lawns and playing. And it has been such a joy personally. And then turning from that to sort of professionally, so many of the things that I am proudest of the time I've been here have been epicentered in the Wharf District. You know, the Wharf District community fought so hard for the Rings Fountain to be built originally, and it has been a focus for the Conservancy with the Ai Weiwei installation and, you know, keeping it in a great state of good repair and upgrading the lights. And it's been nice to, you know, run into Chris Fincham sitting next to the fountain for so many years. And then the carousel project, I remember sitting on the carousel with Jody Wolin the night that it opened, and both of us reflecting that we might never do something we enjoyed as much as that project, or that was as significant as that project in our careers. And that was a partnership that, you know, was with many, but including the New England Aquarium. You know, Myrtle the turtle is on the carousel, and hello to Eric and Rick, and thanks to the aquarium for their friendship for many years. The Janet Eckelman sculpture, literally, I think the biggest thing in public art that the city has seen or may ever see. And the complexities of that included lots of conversations with Heidi and Rob and others about attaching to their buildings, and with the Wharf District Council about what it meant to shun the streets, to install it at night, and then just how great it was. But also the rest of the art, the neon and the yellow meeting house. And thank you to you, Mark, and Bill Zielinski and the Gordons and so many others for being enthusiasts and supporters of our public art program. Trillium, a personal favorite. I wrote a business plan back in 2012 for the Conservancy that kind of vowed we would have a beer garden, and it took 5 years, but we got there. And thank you. It agreeing to allow us to open a bar right in front of a 5-star hotel takes trust, and you know, we're glad to have earned that trust so that you could be supportive, and glad that a long relationship with Stephen meant that there was trust. It's been fun to drink there, I think, for many of us, but we didn't know that it would quite out as well as it had. And so thank you for taking that leap with us. The Greenway bid, which, you know, really helped ensure the long run future of taking care of the park. So many of the critical properties are in the Wharf District area. And so, you know, thank you to all those here whose properties pay, but thank you. I see Tom Nally is here from ABC, which played obviously a critical role in making that happen. And ABC's always been so involved in the Wharf District. And then, you know, the everyone giving of their time, you know, Wharf District volunteer days organized by Judy, and photos of everything from Mark. And then let me say one last special thanks to maybe our greatest volunteer, Suzanne Lavoie, who has served 2 tours of duty on our board, the only person ever to be on twice, and therefore the longest serving board member ever, helping assure continuity through all of this time. A committed Wharf District Council Executive Director, but also a great friend to me and my family. So thank you all for so many great years.
Jesse, congratulations. Thank you very much for, imagine you're hearing thunderous applause from people who are muted. You've done a great job. You've really made you've made a big difference in Boston and certainly in the lives of everybody in the Wharf District, but far, far beyond that. You build a legacy that we will enjoy for years and years to come, and folks in New York are lucky to have you. You're, of course, we expect to see you back and partying with us when we can.
You're here.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, really, all of you. It has been great fun. And people don't usually say that about community meetings. And you guys have made it a joy.
Great. Well, we'll look forward to continuing to work with the Greenway, and I'm sure that we'll find some way to keep you honest.
Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you.
Please know that we truly mean we're going to miss you. It's going to be tough.
No.
For some of us more than others, but we will certainly miss you.
Well, I'm glad to leave the park and the Conservancy in great shape and with great friendships with all of you. And we're going to have an amazing executive director, and one more way in which Suzanne has been a leading volunteer. She's serving on the search committee and helping make sure that she has a relationship from the outset with a great person that we bring on board. So.
Suzanne has assured us that there's some terrific candidates, and we will look forward to welcoming him or her when the time is right. But thank you for sharing pictures of your family as well. And this is what community is all about. So best of luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Pivoting from all of that wonderful emotion, Norm, would you like to, we have a number of things that are active in the Climate Resilience Task Force. I think the main subgroup that has been making substantial progress that I'm aware of during the last month has been the group that's working on the engineering side of things. And Norm, I believe you're going to bring us up to speed on that part, right?
Sure, Mark, happy to do so. So the team of volunteers in this subcommittee to define a scope of work for what we want to accomplish for resiliency for the entire district consists of people from the Chiafaro Company, from the Aquarium, from Rose Wharf, and from Harbor Towers. And we have met several times to try to start defining the scope, and ran some ideas by some potential contractors engineering firms who might be interested in bidding on it, and got feedback from them as well. So we're kind of honing in on creating it in a form that we can actually send it out for bids. And part of it is we're going to ask all of the properties along the waterfront to contribute to the data that we will be sending to these potential contractors with what surveys they've done, what plans they have, what studies they've done, in an effort to not spend money to reinvent the wheel, where so many properties have already done so much work. And then we're planning to take the work that was done in developing Climate Ready Boston, specifically the toolkits that are available there, to have the engineering firm that we hire take those reference designs that the toolkits have for various configurations of wall or other barriers to the ocean, and apply them all along the waterfront to create basically a reference design for us to be able to then work on getting something done before the Climate Ready Boston timelines, which are to not even start considering our area until 2030. And our hope is to create a design, or at least it's not a design that one could build to, but a conceptual design that would allow work to be started much earlier than that, and use that as a means to gather the right funding and momentum to make something happen in a much shorter time frame to protect not just the buildings which people are working to protect on their own, but to protect the environs around those buildings and to protect the Greenway behind those buildings and the properties to the west, which are in equally severe danger of being flooded if a barrier to the ocean is not constructed. And the plan is to do this conceptual design to the threat level of the 2070 currently perceived threat.
2070.
Yep, 2070. So that's where we are. We're about to do our second draft scope of work with the feedback we have gotten, you know, we're well on our way. There's a subcommittee that's going to be looking at funding this effort. We hope they're making some progress.
Or will, yeah. Thank you. I want to say a special thank you to Rob Caridad and to Steve Mitchell, who've been working on the technical side of this early version of an RFP, because the feedback that we got to begin with was that there was a danger that we were going to bite off more than we could really chew, and we do need to find a way to fund this in an affordable way that can't take us to the full level we might otherwise like it to extend to. So they've been very helpful in that, and there's more work to be done there, but it's great. Thank you, Rob and Steve. One of the things that you may all be aware of is that there was a presentation this last week by the group SCAPE that's working for the BPDA on the design and use guidelines. And it's an early stage, but it's moving quickly. Hi, Joe. Thanks for joining us. One of the things, a number of us who have been working on this task force had a conversation about the intersection of what we're doing relative to resilience and the design and use guidelines. And you'll recall that we have been trying to get those things to happen simultaneously, but at the moment they're happening side by side, but we need to get them integrated. In this conversation, there was this question of how on earth are we going to build to, as Norm said, the 2070 elevation, which is 22 and a half, as it's referred to, and that there's a tremendous, difference in elevation in a lot of places between 22 and a half and what it is now, and what it is that we can do to mitigate that big difference. And we all know that we want to have a harbor walk. And the question is, okay, well, what does the edge of the harbor walk look like? And one of the things that we imagine that the design and use guidelines is going to discuss, we would hope anyway, is what is the edge condition of the harbor walk? And all of us agreed that we have significant concern over the safety that a lot of the edge of the harbor walk, the way that the edge of the harbor walk is articulated at the moment in so many places, with just big bollards and a chain, and any kid or elderly person or anybody else can just take a header right over it and they're done, right? And so wouldn't it be great if in fact there was something or other that was safer at the edge of our harbor? And I'm going to share an image with you that represents an idea that we generally thought we want to share with the design and use folks, which is the concept that where there's a seawall, and we know that we need a seawall, and we know that the top of that seawall has to be at 22.5. And it can be shaped in all sorts of different ways. This is just a general idea. But if that seawall ends up being the railing, if you will, that people can sit on, but not as readily fall over, then the harbor walk, which would be inboard of that, could be 2 feet down from that. And that makes the slope that goes down to wherever it is reaching existing or revised grade just that much less onerous. But the main thing about this concept is we want to talk about what the Wharf District Council would like to see as an edge condition of the harbor walk being safer than it is now. Now, there are lots of different versions of this, but I think that there are some inherent in this are some useful thoughts about relative elevations and the simplicity with which this would address all of those things. So we can talk about this if we'd like to, but the general idea is to share this idea with the SCAPE and the BPDA, and hope that we can include some component of that concept in what they're working on. Any thoughts or questions about that? Okay, no violent objection. That's good. Okay, great. Let's have a, let's see. Is there anything going on with the Hook Wharf project that we need to know about this evening?
The Christmas tree is gone.
Oh, okay. That's a thing. When the comment period has passed, and I assume there's a scoping session underway.
I don't know what's going on at the moment. I have not heard anything from the team.
Anybody else on at the moment that can update us on that?
No, no idea.
No, okay.
There has been a scoping session going on, but I do not believe the scoping document is finalized yet.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. Okay, great. We were planning on having or hoping for a presentation by Public Works on the State Street project, but they're still apparently working on that. And we are hoping that they will come up with something or other that will be consistent with our presentation, asking for 2 lanes of traffic, and hopefully finding a good route for the bike lane to go that would not impede those 2 lanes of traffic on some different street. We had a good presentation with Councillor Wu, and we are hoping to get together with a number of the other councillors at their availability to be able to share with them.
And
to be able to share with them the things that are so important to us. And Suzanne has been coordinating those. And we do not have a timeline for when they will be presenting to us, but we're hoping
Yeah.
soon. And I know Councillor Flynn is working on that request as well.
Mark,
Yes, please, Matthew.
Matthew Murphy here. Have you received any kind of just verbal feedback about the WDC alternative plan that was put forth? Have you got any kind of feedback about it or comments from anybody at BPDA or?
I think it was graciously acknowledged.
Okay, that's fair.
I don't know what the I don't know how I don't know how it might impact what their plans are yet. We're hopeful, and we're hopeful that the counselors will advocate for us on this, because it is something or other that we obviously all believe in so strongly. And Councillor Essaibi George, I think we got that information to you as well. Make sure, if you don't have it handy, we'll make sure we get it to you, so that you can be aware of the State Street concern that we have. Perhaps you know, I'm hoping you know already, but we'll certainly confirm that.
Yeah,
And
happy to set up a time to chat too.
super. Well, very much appreciate that. We'll reach out. And we know that we have the support from the North End. Cheryl Del Greco joined us on the presentation before to talk about how the North End is so much in favor also of this concept that we're working on together. So that's it for State Street, I think, right, Suzanne? Anything else?
Yes, that they have reached out to me, Ashley, and as well as Para, and they are working on it, and they are looking at and evaluating everything. So we look forward, and they look forward to working with us in the future on something.
Good. And Tom Nally and the folks from ABC have been very helpful in trying to make sure that everybody also understands. Of course, the ABC is so focused on and aware of all the transportation issues, so that's really it's one of Tom's many specialties. So we thank you, Tom, for that. John Romano, community update stuff you'd like to share with us?
I actually have a few things for you all. So one thing I want to share, and just in case there's anyone new here as well, John Romano from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. Just a few community updates that we have. So starting on March 1st, Boston moved into the Commonwealth, with the Commonwealth into Phase 3, Step 2 with the state's reopening plan. There's a few exceptions that were listed. So with indoor performance venues, they can operate at 50% capacity with a 500-person max. This doesn't apply until Boston until March 22nd. We will not, in Boston, will not have allow live musical performances in restaurants until the 22nd. Indoor recreational activities with greater potential for contact, like laser tag, roller skating, won't open and will open at 50% capacity. Still with Boston on the 22nd. A number of industries will increase to 50% capacity, and employees will be exempt from that capacity restriction. There's a lot more information on boston.gov, which I'll, again, /reopening, I'll post the link in after, so for anyone to be able to read through. Now, when we go through, there's also some other things that have already started. So we know that street sweeping and ticketing started on March 1st. So street sweeping is resumed in the North End, South End, and Beacon Hill areas. It's going to resume citywide for ourselves here starting April 1st, and there'll be ticketing and enforcement out with that as well. Failure to move your vehicle during the posted street sweeping hours will result in a $40 fine. And that you are also able to see some more of that information about street sweeping. And you can also sign up for street sweeping alerts. So you'll get an alert to your phone, and no tow reminder services. It's boston.gov/department/public-works/street sweeping. And I'll post that link in the chat here as well. We all know, and we've heard that outdoor dining is coming back to the city of Boston. So outdoor dining will begin on March 22nd in the neighborhood. And then our neighbors to the north and the North End will start April 1st. But places that have gotten their approval letter are able to start in our neighborhood on the 22nd. If there's any of those businesses here that are looking for contact and need those signs to be able to start doing so, please feel free to give me a call or email me. I'd be happy to get in touch with you. We also have another thing is coming back, and it's our Love Our Block spring cleanups. So the Mayor's Office of Public Service and Community Outreach are going to be hosting their annual Love Your Block spring cleanups. I'll post that link here as well. But it's a sign up for anyone in the neighborhood that's looking to do a community cleanup. And we know that in the news from some of our vaccination sites in going forward with vaccinations, that teachers are now eligible for vaccine appointments. So Governor Baker announced that K through 12 educators, childcare workers, and other school staff are eligible to begin getting vaccinations starting March 11th, which just came a couple days ago. And this is, we have about an estimated 400,000 people that will be newly eligible as educators, childcare workers, and school staff members for signups. When we talk about vaccinations, though, in general, so Boston has 10 vaccination sites and taking 10 registrations from any eligible Boston resident. That includes the Reggie Lewis Center in Roxbury, Fenway Park. The Old North Church is being run as a vaccination center by the North End Waterfront Health Center. And we have some community partners in health centers around the city as well. So all in all, there's about 14 sites operated by community health centers and hospitals that are reaching out to their own patients. So if you are a patient at any of the community health centers in Boston or a hospital here, make sure you reach out to your own doctor if you're eligible, if they haven't reached out to you already. We have 8 pharmacy locations, including Walgreens and CVS in various neighborhoods that are vaccinating as well. There's a couple links here for vaccinations, and I'll post those here too. But I do want to clarify as of now who can get vaccinated. And so right now the state is setting its priority groups according to CDC guidelines. So that's, in this current phase, it's individuals 75 plus, individuals 65 plus with 2+ underlying medical conditions, early educators and K through 12 workers, in transit, utility, food, agricultural, sanitation, public works, and public health workers, and then individuals with one underlying medical condition. Individuals 65 and older and individuals with 2 or more certain medical conditions are eligible and have been eligible as of February 18th. K through 12 workers, like I said, are now eligible as well. And we know that there's an extreme high demand for appointments and there's a limited vaccine supply. So it could take a significant amount of time for you to get your vaccinations, but keep checking back on the websites and keep checking up to sign up for your vaccination. And they'll be able to help you as best as you can at any of these sites. Now, again, I'll post in some of the links here about mass.gov and also our Boston websites as well for you to be able to check where to get vaccinated. But I also want to continue to stress too about testing. So if you do feel like you're experiencing any of the symptoms, we still have our testing sites up and running. So we have mobile testing sites through March 31st listed in the Boston Renaissance Charter School in Hyde Park. We have Ann M. Cole Community Center in Jamaica Plain. There's Harvard Street Neighborhood Health Center in Dorchester, and the Strand Theater on Columbia Road that are just some of our mobile testing sites. But we have additional long-standing testing sites. For example, the health center is still doing testing as well. So I'll post a link for that too. And then from there, that's really kind of the main overall overviews I want to give to you all. But as always, my email is john.romano@boston.gov. Happy to answer any questions or be able to help any way that I can. And for those that have a couple of messages in the chat, I know one from Sarah talking about signs for outdoor dining. We have for the businesses, just to notify residents that are in the area if they're taking any of the street parking for outdoor dining, there's signs that they have to put up to be able to make sure that they notify people for at least 48 hours ahead of time of when their dining is going to go out there, that they have to move their car.
Questions for John? Okay, that's a lot of stuff. We've been trying to run through it quickly so that people don't spend their entire lives on Zoom. But if you don't have any other things that people want to bring up, we're going to slip into the members' executive session to discuss the liquor transfer.
I have a quick one, Mark, from the
Please,
Conservancy.
Rachel. Yes, go ahead. Yes.
So just a heads up, so we are still finalizing all of our permitting stuff, but permits, if they all go well, which we expect they should, our carousel is actually opening for the season on Friday. It's also supposed to snow on Friday, so which feels crazy, but it's March. So we are looking at Friday through Sunday for right now. So again, and we'll be kind of announcing on our social and over email when we officially get the permits, but signs of spring. The carousel will be back spinning on Friday.
Nice.
Good news. Oh, that's great.
Mark, may I?
Matthew and then Tito, yeah.
Yeah, just to add to the enjoyment, this coming Saturday is our first whale watch of the season. We're doing whale watches starting just weekends, starting this upcoming weekend. You might want to wait a little bit because I think the seas are at 7 to 10 feet this Saturday, so it may not go out. But we are starting first whale watch March 27. Our first sightseeing, March 20th. Our first sightseeing cruise is March 27. That will be running on weekends starting that weekend. And then the water taxis will be starting up again starting April 1. So several milestones ahead as we head into season. Starting to see more boats on the water. That's all good.
That's great. Wonderful. Great. Thank you, Matthew. Tito.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair and August Board. I just wanted to keep people informed. I went before the Boston Cannabis Board for verdant reparative at 150 State Street, and we actually received a unanimous vote. We will be moving forward to a hearing with the Zoning Board of Appeals. I will definitely keep the organization posted around dates for that. But I wanted to thank you for the support, and I look forward to serving you as well as working with all of you and supporting the organizations that are here.
Great. Thank you, Tito. Could you just remind us, I'm sure Fernando knows this as well, but what is the actual process between now and when you open?
Yeah. Okay. How much time do you have? So the first portion is to get city approval, which is to receive the first part, which I received already as a host community agreement. The next portion is to get your special permit from the Zoning Board of Appeals. As soon as you have that, you then move forward to the state of Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission. And the first section of that is the PCR, which is a provisional license. You will then go forward and do architectural review. And then after you figure out what you're allowed to build, you build it, get a final license. And then the actual provision to open is called a commence operations after you receive your final walkthrough and stamp off. And when you get your commence operations, you're generally able to open within 72 hours. And that's after you've gone through with the city and in particular the police department with your plan around opening. And then from there, we would be in business.
And what would you imagine that overall timeline looks like at this point, if you could guess?
Mark, I saw how you reacted to bike lanes on both sides of State Street or the closure of State Street. So you don't like when people don't tell you the truth. So I am actually not going to place I'm not gonna I would love for it to be in the Q3 Q4, but I can't give you an actual date just because we're at the mercy of the State Cannabis Control Commission in terms of their time frame.
Okay. Well, best of luck, and thank you for joining us, of course.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Anybody want to say anything before we go into executive session?
I know
Yes.
that Fernando is on the Zoom. I was wondering if he had any idea as to where he would be opening or where he is in. I know he knows where he is in the process, but I guess if he could share that with us.
Yeah, sure. Can everyone hear me? I have headphones in and a hat on, so it's a little weird. So We're still waiting to go in front of the BCB. I know we are 6th in line with that, but it's a 1-in-1, and because we're not equity, we have to be paired with an equity. If I were to guess off of the pace that has been going over the last 5 to 6 months, I would say we would go in front of them in June, maybe May if we're lucky. It all depends on how many equity applications are actually put in. For us though, once that part's done, the other part should be a lot faster because I've done everything else already. We've met with the police department down there. We have all of our everything else done. It's just a matter of getting in front of the BCB, hopefully getting their approval, and then we can submit our application. So that's pretty much the only thing we're really waiting on, but that like everything, it's not something that we can control someone else's pace. So kind of is what it is. Just patiently wait.
Good. Well, best of luck to you too.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you. We will see everybody again, April
20th.
20th, that one, April 20th?
Yes, but we have to
And,
do our executive session.
Yeah, and so stay on if you are a dues paying member, and we'll just wrap up this next stage. Thank you all.